Okay, guys, so listen to this, because I swear this sounds like something out of a movie, but it actually happened to me. So one night I had this dream, right? And in the dream, I found myself in our basement for some reason. I was searching for something, I don't even know what, and suddenly I discovered this hidden room. At first I freaked out, obviously, but then curiosity got the better of me and I went inside. The thing is, this dream felt crazy real, like uncomfortably real. Then, in the dream, while I was inside the secret room, the door suddenly slammed shut. I was trapped in total darkness and I started screaming. That's when I woke up, completely drenched in sweat. My heart was pounding like crazy. Thank God it was just a dream, I thought, trying to catch my breath. But then it hit me like lightning. The hidden room in the basement was real. Everything came flooding back. When I was like 5 or 6 years old, I had actually lived through everything I just dreamed about. That day, I had been looking for our neighbor's cat in the basement. I'd overheard her tell my mom that her cat had been missing since yesterday, so I thought maybe it's in our basement, and I went down there. Somehow, one of the walls just opened up and revealed a door. Yes, I remember going into that secret room. But here's the weird part. I can't remember anything about what was inside. I remember the lights going out, though. I remember being absolutely terrified in that darkness. Apparently, the shock of it all made my brain erase that memory. But seeing it in my dream brought it all back, crystal clear, like it happened yesterday. The only thing I still couldn't remember was who got me out of that room. I had to ask my mom about that. My mom's a graphic designer, and my dad works in computer programming. They both work from home. I rushed into my mom's office and said, "Mom, I need to ask you something really important." She looked at me with a smile, but when I started telling her about my dream, her smile froze. "Mom, that hidden room in the basement is real, isn't it? How did I get out of there?" I asked. My mom didn't know what to say. "Sarah, that was just a dream. There's no secret room in the basement, sweetie," she tried to explain. But when I kept insisting, she got really angry for some reason. "Sarah, I'm working right now," she said, basically telling me to leave. From the way she acted, I could tell she was lying. I had to go down to that basement and find that hidden room again. The next evening, after everyone went to bed, I snuck downstairs to the basement. I had an idea. Since the secret door had opened when I was looking for the cat, maybe I needed to look down at the ground instead of up at the walls. As I was searching around with my flashlight, I spotted a brick sticking out from the wall. When I pushed it back into place, I heard this mechanical sound, and slowly, a door in the walls started opening. I was so excited. When the door opened, lights in the secret room automatically turned on. I went inside. There was a table, a few chairs, a 3-seater couch, and various cabinets. No cobwebs anywhere, which meant someone was cleaning this place regularly. There was some kind of device on the table. It was a radio. When I opened the first cabinet, I literally shouted, "What the hell is this?" Inside were 2 huge rifles and 2 handguns. I opened another cabinet. Canned food, tons of it. I realized this room was built for hiding in an emergency situation, maybe even living in for a while. When I opened a small cabinet next to the couch, I found it full of papers, envelopes, and maps. I grabbed the envelope on top. It had several photos inside. I took the envelope back to my room. When I pulled out the photos, my heart started racing. There was a wedding photo of a couple I didn't recognize, a photo of a baby, and one of all 3 of them together. I was so confused. Why were these family photos in our house? Why was there a secret room in our basement? What was that radio for? And most importantly, what were all those guns for? Why had my mom denied the room's existence? Who were those men my dad had been talking to? Just as I was about to go to sleep, an idea popped into my head. I took the photos back out of the envelope and used my phone to photograph the man and woman separately. Then I went to Google Images. First, I uploaded the woman's photo and clicked Search by Image. Nothing came up. Then I uploaded the man's photo. Google returned a bunch of results. My heart was pounding. I clicked the top link. It was a news article. I started reading. This man was a famous mafia boss. He had controlled all the crime syndicates. Thousands of people worked for him. The police had tried for a long time to prove his crimes and arrest him. Eventually, they brought him to court and he was sentenced to life in prison. They kept where he was serving his sentence a secret because they were afraid his men would try to break their leader out. My head was spinning. Why were photos of a mafia boss and his family in our house? Was my dad one of his men? It sounded ridiculous, but I couldn't think of anything else that made sense. The next night, I went back to the secret room in the basement. I needed to find more information. I opened the cabinet where I'd found the photos again, looking for anything useful, when I found an ID card. From the photo, I could tell it belonged to the mafia boss's wife. Now I knew her name. Since there was no internet in the secret room, I immediately went back to my room. I Googled the woman. Only 2 results came up, both news articles about a traffic accident. Apparently, she was speeding when her car lost control and flew off a bridge into a river. Her baby was with her. They both died in the crash. Everything I was learning was making things more confusing instead of clearer. I was dying to know what all this meant. I wondered if that car from last night was still there, so I looked out my window. It was, and this time, because the light inside the car was on, I could clearly see the men's faces. There were 3 of them, the driver and 2 others sitting with him. One of them was my dad. They were chatting and laughing. A few minutes later, another car pulled up and parked. A woman got out. My dad got out of the car, and I almost screamed because my dad and this woman hugged each other tightly. Was this woman my dad's girlfriend? My dad got into the woman's car, and they drove away. I had to tell my mom what I saw. Of course, she'd be hurt, but she needed to know my dad was having an affair. Crying, I went into my parents' bedroom. My mom woke up when she heard me and shouted, "Sarah, what's wrong?" "Mom, Dad's cheating on you. I saw it with my own eyes. He just got in some woman's car and left," I said. My mom hugged me. Calmly, she said, "Why aren't you in bed? You weren't supposed to see that." "Mom, what do you mean? Who is that woman?" I asked. My mom smiled. "Sarah, that woman is your father's wife, or rather, the wife of the man you think is your father," she said. I was so confused. What? I had plastic surgery 7 times. That's how I got my current appearance, she said. I was learning such unbelievable things that I'd stopped being surprised at this point. "But the internet says you died in a traffic accident along with your baby," I said. "That was fake news put online by the police," my mom said. That's when it clicked. I grabbed the baby photo. "This is me, isn't it?" My mom was crying. "Yes, that's you. You had 3 plastic surgeries, so your face completely changed. I'm sorry about that, but there was no other choice." She continued her story. "When I married your father, he was working as a private driver for a businessman, but his boss was actually making money through illegal activities. Your father learned from him and got into the criminal world. While I thought he was just a driver, he had become a ruthless mafia boss. By the time I found out everything, it was too late. Your father had turned into a crime machine. You were born during that time. Your father had lost control. He treated his associates and me badly. I was scared of him, and I hated him. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I took you with me and went to the police. They'd been trying to arrest your father for a while, but they didn't have enough evidence to present in court. I knew about all your father's crimes, so thanks to my testimony, your father was arrested and sentenced to life in prison. Because he had so many loyal men around him, you and I were in danger. So they put us in the witness protection program. First, we had surgery. They completely changed both of our faces. Of course, our identities changed too. Then we moved to this small town. It was like something out of a movie, and I was one of the main characters in this story. "So who is the person I thought was my dad?" I asked. "He's our bodyguard. His real name is Marcus. That woman you saw is his actual wife. Every night after you go to bed, Marcus goes home. He comes back before you wake up. When he's not at the house, others take over protecting us. I know, they're the ones in the car across the street. My mom laughed. But you figured out quite a lot, she said, stroking my cheek. Is this secret room for us to hide in? I asked. Yes, your father has thousands of loyal men. Because of me, their lives were turned upside down. They've been looking for us for years to get revenge. If they find out our identity and where we live, there could be a major attack. But don't worry at all. If that happens, we'll hide here. The guns are for defending ourselves. And of course, Marcus will be with us too. I felt so strange. I'd learned so many incredible things in such a short time. My head was naturally all over the place. It took a while to process everything I'd learned. Thanks for listening to my story. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.